This story has been recorded at an Addictive Eaters Anonymous meeting in New Zealand. You can email us at contact@aeanz.org.
Yeah, it's good to be here, and yes, I was thinking about sharing my story tonight. I thought I'd actually like to start with the way I was rather than food, because I know that the food is just a symptom of the disease. And for me, like right from a little child, I can remember being so sensitive, extra sensitive, that I felt like I had no barrier to life. You know, like I had a layer of skin missing or something like that, and always felt insecure. I never felt comfortable. I can't remember when I was a really little child what things I was doing to try and fix myself, but I know that people couldn't do that for me. I'm sure food was a part of that picture. I know animals were. I could relate to animals really well, but I couldn't relate to people, and I always felt like quite a loner. And I first remember I'm multi-addicted. You know, I know that food is one of my issues. I'm also addicted to alcohol, drugs, and other behaviours as well. And some of those things started to show themselves, food being one of those. And I remember being really obsessed about the times of meals. I'd always ask Mum about when was tea ready, what was for tea, you know, always asking about the food, trying to steal food. And then as I got older, that and then other things became apparent. I had, the next thing was probably boys. I know that happened at primary school where I was obsessed, but not in a normal way that, you know, hormones kick in. I was really obsessed about certain boys. And then that progressed on to comforting myself with alcohol and drugs, and when they became available to me. Food was always a big one. I tried to vomit, but I couldn't. But I was also one of those people that ate a lot of food and it didn't show that much on my body. And I have some physical health problems now, and I think it's probably they were always there and made that kind of happen that way. I was also addicted to shoplifting. I stole a lot of stuff from shops, and I could do that. I could have almost like no conscience with it. It was all about what I wanted, and the eating was, I stole food too. The first time I got caught stealing was food, and that was when I was a teenager, and I just rolled off the lies very, very easily, and managed to get away with that. And then I tried to fix myself with other things. I got with my husband when I was very young, and I had a crush on him for a year before I met him. You know, it's probably not that normal, you know, the level of that crush. And then when we got together after a couple of years, we started having children, and it was like there's always had to be something that I was getting, you know, the attention of him, the getting married, having a wedding, you know, the birth of a baby was actually all about me, you know, and so then I had these highs and lows in that, you know, because you'd have a high with something like that, but then you've got the reality of looking after a baby, which is not that easy, and responsibility, and I didn't want responsibility. And I remember when I got married, I just stopped working. I just didn't want to work. I hated work, you know. I was that sort of couch potato addict that I just wanted to sit around and watch TV and knit, you know. Whatever obsession there was at the moment, one of them was knitting, one of them was making craft projects, you know, out of lace and just all sorts of stuff. But I didn't want to take responsibility for anything that I didn't. And and that's what I filled my life up with, and then I kept having children, and I had 3 children at the time. I was 25. And that was hard, very, very hard, and had some major, major meltdowns in that time. And I remember having big meltdowns when I was pregnant. And my husband, just some terrible things that I did. And my husband was like, we had this really great connection, him and I, and this really good life at some level. But when I had a meltdown, boy did I have a meltdown. And I blamed it all on my family because I came from a family of addiction, and my father was violent, and all of us had been sexually abused and stuff by their friends. So it was very easy. So I think by the time I had my third child, I was starting to look for a solution. And so I went to the first fellowship, 12-step fellowship I went to was Adult Children of Alcoholics. And it was great. I loved it because you could tell all, the sad story about yourself, never looked at the steps on the wall, and people would listen to you and feel sorry for you, and I loved that, And then I did all this other self-help stuff for years, parenting, self-esteem courses, anger management courses, confidence building courses, every course that was available, I did it. And I was an atheist. But I also did Bible study. And I did that because I wanted the peace and serenity that I saw some people have, and I thought, well, maybe if I could believe in God that I could get that. And I remember one day when I was walking back from Bible study, I was pushing my child in pram, my baby, and a dog ran out and bit me on the leg. I just thought that's a waste of time going to their Bible study class. I expected that I'd be cushioned from every hardship in life, including dogs. So that was my expectation, is that I wanted something to fix me, but I couldn't be fixed. Food was like, for me, it was like I had a love affair with it, but it was, I would say I loved it. I had recipe books galore, and I started collecting them when I was a very young teenager. But I would say that it was a love-hate relationship with it. I would look forward to things and then not be able to stop eating things, and then I would hate it and hate myself, and I would self-harm, hurt myself, punch myself and hit myself and things like that, because I hated myself so much because I thought I was getting fat. And what I would do to comfort that, even when I'd overeaten so much, because I was a binge eater, even when I'd overeaten so much that my stomach hurt and I had to lie down, I would try and fix that by having something to eat, like an apple, or something healthy, like an orange drink or something like that. And that obsession was there, and it got worse over time, and I know that's what happens to us, that addictive disease is progressive, and so it became worse and worse and worse, and so I had rules around food, that I could only have certain things and certain calories and all that sort of stuff, but it was all about my mind, because even with the calorie counting, I remember thinking it would be acceptable. It was always for me what's going to look normal, because I wanted this to be a secret. Would it be normal to have 3 ginger nuts for morning tea? I think that's quite acceptable, That's what I would tell myself. But then I would go and buy the giant ginger nuts, in the packet, and tell myself that it was acceptable to have 3 of those. They'd probably be about half a kilo for 3 of them. And but I'd still think that was all right in my mind. Or a piece of toast. I was always having a piece of toast, but I was always having piece after piece after piece of toast with Marmite on it, because I wasn't a person. I've heard a person that was in the fellowship who's passed away now, but she said she used to say that she used to make desserts and cook them in the oven and watch them, and then wait till she did burn her mouth a wee bit, but she'd wait till they came out and then eat these things like apple crumble and stuff like that. I never did that, because I just thought, well, you can have toast, you can put jam on it, that's your sweet thing, or honey. but that's what I did, and I never ever can honestly say that I never thought food was the source of my problems and my unhappiness and all of that perfectionism and insecurity and self-focus and all that sort of stuff. I never once ever thought it was related to the food. I never thought to ever go to a health professional and talk about the food. I went to health professionals to talk about my family of origin, but I never ever went and talked about food because I didn't think I had a problem and I wasn't overweight, you know. I was probably a wee bit chubby, but I was normal, pretty normal, and I wasn't that much bigger than I am now. And so how that changed for me, and what I would say is it's important to say it because it's part of my story, is that a family member of mine who's in AA said to me that he thought that I had a problem with alcohol. Well, I hardly drank. I did binge drink though. When I drank, I made a mess of myself. And he said, well, that's a problem. And he suggested I go to AA, so I went to a health professional and talked to him, and he was actually a member of AA, I didn't know at the time. And he suggested I go to AA. When I went along to AA, I was just going along to sort of find out that, you know, my family was the problem and it wasn't me. And I related hugely, and so my behaviour got worse actually. I didn't drink after that, but I was still eating. And just so happened around the same time that, because my behaviour, you know, the disease progresses and my behaviour of having these meltdowns progressed as well. And so, you know, I was doing all these good mother things and then I'd be violent with my kids, you know, and so there's total inconsistency and be really abusive to my husband. And my husband said to me, so it was around the same time, I didn't want to go to AA, but he said to me, we had said we were leaving heaps of times before because that was the pattern, particularly me, because he cramped my style, you know. And he said to me that I needed to leave, and he said, and you're not taking the children. My oldest was 11 at that stage, and he said, if you try and take the children, I'm going to go to court and tell them what you're like. And I knew that if he did that, I would not have the care of my children. And so when I went along there, and I found I related, and my behaviour got worse because I wasn't having alcohol. I was still eating, but I wasn't having alcohol. That's when I started going to AA and tried to stick at it. And as soon as I put down the alcohol and drugs and didn't have that anaesthetic as a part of this big picture, the food just became so... I don't even know whether it was worse, but it just became really, really visible to me hugely. I knew I had a problem with food, and what I'm really grateful for is that there was members of this fellowship in AA who made it known to me, or just made it known in general to people that they were in, you know, they were getting treatment for their food addiction in 12 Step Fellowship. And so I knew they were the people to go to. And I didn't want to. I used to say, I remember saying to Leonie, ringing her, because she was the sponsor of a family member of mine, and saying, I really don't know whether I've got this food problem or not, you know, and she knew my family, and she said, well, I don't like your chances. But I've heard it said, you know, if you have to wonder, you know, if you have to wonder. And so I came along to one meeting. I think I was told to come to 6. I came to 2, I think it was, and the first one I was so friggin' angry, and people that are here now will tell you that. I just seethed. I didn't really say much, but God, I was angry, because I just thought, you bunch of, I don't know what I thought, you bunch of what, I don't know, but I just thought, bunch of whatever I don't want, you know. I wasn't even listening to the recovery, I was just listening to, I don't want to be here. And somebody came up to me after the meeting and said, keep coming back, and I just really wanted to punch her in the face, you know. And so I managed one more meeting before I couldn't manage it anymore, and then I left. And I had managed to get hold of a food plan from someone. I can't remember who. It's a good idea. I actually think it was a great idea, because I was trying to manage my own food, and it was good because I couldn't manage it. And I tried that for 6 months. And in that phase I started to lose some weight and be very happy about that. And so I got into this obsessive weighing myself, and I didn't have a set of scales, but, because I didn't believe in them, but I would go to people's houses who I knew had scales every day. And I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink, I'd go to the toilet before I weighed myself, all this stuff, obsessive about the weight. And then I stopped being able to control my eating as far as putting food in my mouth. I stopped having the ability to even overeat. It was the undereating. I've never had that experience before. And I could not eat, and that's the weirdest thing. And that went on for months. And my husband, that's when he's never said anything about my body at all in a negative way. But that one time, he just said to me, Celia, you need to get help, you're really sick. He said, I can see all the bones in your back, and there's something wrong with you, major. And I just knew, I used to think to myself, I hope I don't have to go back there, because I knew that it was a surrender. I didn't want to have to do that. And when I came back after that was when I really did want to stop eating, I really did. And, but I was still holding on to stuff. I was still holding on to, I'm different to you, and I'm not as bad as you, and just that arrogance, I still had that, and so consequently I kept picking up the food. It'll be just little amounts of things off my food plan, on my food plan that one time it was a grain of rice. One time I just thought, oh, what a load of rubbish, to see if your rice is cooked, you should be able to at least taste it, so I ate a grain of rice. And then my head just was going crazy, and another time it was a slice of lemon and a drink, and I had said, no, I just want water, thank you. But I couldn't say I didn't want the lemon, and that drove me nuts. And so I'd get sort of 3 months off the food, 6 months off the food, and then I would pick up the food by one of these little things, not wanting to be different in front of people, all that was my big problem. And finally, the food gets worse, the disease got worse, and I could see my behaviour related to all of this picking up was just atrocious, actually. And so the last time, and that was 19 years ago, I was eating my food plan, and that I had a problem with a family member of Paul's who kept, I think he might have had a problem with food. He's someone I liked very much, but he would always say stuff about my food plan. I was always really straight up with him and said, this is just what I need to do. But just this one time, I can't say what it was. We were eating tea at his son's place, and his son was lovely about it. He said, look, whatever, this is Celine's lifestyle. And I had, in those days, I had milk on my food plan after my tea, and I had my little thing of, was it 300 mils of milk or something? And when it came to measuring out the milk, I just couldn't do it. I just poured it in a glass and drank it. It was 50 mils of milk, and I went nuts. And it was then that I just thought, actually, nobody has to live in my head except me. And, and the people around me have to experience me active in my addiction, and I just can't do this anymore. And I think that's the point that I surrendered, and I hope that's the point that I surrendered. And one of the things that was big for me was other people knowing. I didn't want other people to know, and I was always trying to hide it. And it's good, I think it's good, and I've been told this, that it's good to know what our Achilles heel is, because we've all got it, we've always got one, and that's one of mine. And I was going on holiday with my father to my North Island family, and I'm close to a lot of them, and I didn't want them to know I was in recovery from food addiction. And so I rang them up and said I was coming up, and I'm going to be weighing and measuring my food at your house. Is that all right? Of course, they all said yes. Probably didn't understand why I was ringing. I also made some amends when I was up there too. But that was the point when I actually thought, I actually don't care if people don't like me. That's fine. I have to do. I have to do what I have to do. And that same problem has come up again since a number of times, and sometimes it creeps in and I don't see it. But when I become aware of it, I take the action that's kind of like the other way, because I know that's that's the mental defence against the first one. And I remember one time, this is a long time ago now, but it was probably about 13 years ago, when I was making friends with a girl at work that I really liked, and I thought we'd like her husband too, and they are very good friends of ours, and we'd met them a couple of times, and we all enjoyed each other's company. And Paul said, "Why don't you invite them down for tea?" And I just kept making excuses. And he said to me one night, he said, "I think you're avoiding doing that because you don't want them to know that you're on a food plan." And I said, "Yeah, I think you're right." So I invited them round for tea and made a measure in front of them. I found that incredibly hard at the time. It's really anxious, but again, I just thought, she doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. But I have to be authentic and genuine I'm an addictive eater. I think I'm a reasonably intelligent person, but I can't control what I put in my mouth. And I know that I can't do that even now. I'm not normal around food, and I know I never will be. And I do believe that I've got a degree of bondedness to the food, always. And there's always some little thing, whether it's seasonal vegetables and fruits, or I don't know, big fruits or little fruits or whatever. At the moment, I like salmon. I love salmon. At the moment, I'm probably eating salmon about once a week. It's expensive, but I just accept that as people like certain foods. I'm not ashamed to like a food, but I know that my bondedness to it is different to other people. I'm bodily and mentally different from other people when it comes to food. And when the food is in its proper place, then I have the ability to work the steps. And I know from my own experience, and it's my belief too, that I can't have an active relationship with my higher power and the food. It's got to be one or the other. And so the food being down is the most important thing for me. So I don't want the food these days. It's annoying when I can't get my food plan if I've forgotten something, and I have to, there's been times that I've had to go and ring someone and get some other food. It really annoys me because I just like my food plan, I just like my food to be simple. And when I go away on holiday now, it's simple as, can't believe how complicated food used to be before I was here. It's just so simple. I just buy the same things in the supermarket, and it's really good. And apart from that, my life, as we all know, we're not immune from life, and and I've probably, I don't know, I mean, I have had some quite big things happen to me in recovery. I would say, I don't know, it's probably age thing too, 54. But you have stuff happen in your life. We've got problems with one of our adult kids, really big problems. I've got problems with my family of origin still, but I think that's in its proper place with the help of a sponsor. I know that. I can be, I don't have to be awful with people. My health, I've had a lot of health issues, and I continue to have a lot of health issues, and I had a new health diagnosis recently, and it made me cry. And but I just actually thought at the time, I know that I'm a person that can cope with that because I've got this, and part of my health problems is around food. And I remember going to see a dietitian once about it, and with my sponsor's approval, and she just said, "What do you eat?" And I just go to the food plan, and she said, "That's actually as good as we should all be eating that." But I said, "You make any changes you want to it, and I'll eat that." And she said, "God, I wish all people were like you." But I just know that I can cope with it because I have that surrender around those things. So one of the problems I have had is taking medication for the problems that physical health problems that I have had, and my sponsor's been hugely helpful to me in that, because I have felt like I don't want to take medication, but I do have to. And I remember my sponsor, the big thing for me, which was huge for me, my sponsor saying to me, at one time, and this is in consultation with my sponsor. It's not just deciding myself, but she said to me, I don't think God wants you to suffer like you are. I think you should just accept, and as soon as I accepted it, it's fine, and I have a good quality of life, Emotionally, I feel like that emotional balance, yes, it's the getting well from food and, living the 12 steps as a way of life, but also the prayer and meditation has helped me hugely, and my sponsors helped me get into that in the last few years, and I feel like one of the important things for me in the program is, I know we have our slogans, and there's the think, which I know some people struggle with, but I think of that as pause, pause, because I'm just, my natural thing is to react, and I find that hugely helpful, and I needed to speak to my husband about something recently, and I left it 2.5 weeks before I talked to him, because I was still angry about it, and it's a big thing. And I need to talk to my sponsor about it too, a few times actually. 2.5 weeks is fine. Like on a daily basis, he wouldn't have even known, because I'm still just exactly the same, nice to him. But yeah, we did need to talk about something, and so I don't have to react in that way, and so I feel like, these problems we have with our son, I feel like, I wish my husband had this, because yeah, it's hard for me too, but I do know that it's going to be alright, and I have a solution for that, and he worries and struggles, and he's just different to me, because he doesn't have what we have. I think I love the third step a lot, this program has helped me. I never had a higher power before I came here. This program's given me my sense of a higher power. I'm getting more and more used to the thought that it's in me as well. But that third step, when it says that, the action that we take is actually a part of that surrender to God, that it's that what we've been doing is misuse of the willpower, but that we have to place ourselves in a position for God to give us this gift. And for me, that's the action that the steps tell us to take, and the stuff I learn at meetings, and the stuff that I talk to my sponsor about, and my sponsor talks to me about. And when I can get myself out of the road, God can get in and fix me. And so I know that the one thing I can't do is eat food like other people. I don't want to. I can't use alcohol and drugs. I don't want to shoplift anymore. I'm not violent. It's not actually natural to me. Like I never ever thought that would stop. I actually thought I was incapable of love, but I just don't have that. It's not natural for me to want to be like that. And it's actually almost the opposite. I can relate it mostly to my work with the love thing, because I'm a helping profession and I help a lot of people, and I feel like I've got an infinite capacity to do that. Every single person, I get a lot of new people actually every week that come in. I just spent the morning with this lovely young girl. We went to court to apply for some orders for her, and I spent the whole morning with her and come back, and then she's gone. And I just had the loveliest day helping her, and I just feel like I've got this infinite capacity for that love for people, and I know I couldn't do that for myself, and as well as that, I always talk about my grandchildren. They have to come into this, because they're just such a big gift to me, and I was just sharing on Wednesday night that Wednesday night, just before the meeting, I met my granddaughter's mum, because I live out of town. I had a box of famous food for her that I'd forgotten to give her on the weekends, some vegetables and stuff like that, and some eggs and stuff. And so I pulled up beside her at the petrol station. She was going back to Timaru, and Isla, who's 2, saw me, and there's glass between us, so, but I can see what she's saying. She's screaming out, Nan, 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 Nan. She calls me my nanny. I want to be Nan, but I'm my nanny, because she calls me my nanny. And then Emmett's in there, and he gets out of the car, and he comes and gives me a cuddle, but I got to him first. And so now she's screaming and throwing a wobbly because she didn't get her nanny. And I did actually pick them up both together, and I thought, oh, I don't think that's good for my back now. He's 4. But what a gift that is, what a gift. And, my children love it that I'm in this program, because they have a responsive and involved mum. And then I get to be my nanny to these beautiful wee kids, and to do a job I love, and I'm well respected in that job too. And I work at a police station. One of the things that really shocks me sometimes, and I have had a couple of clients say it, sometimes I work late because of the nature of the job, and so sometimes I lock up the station, the big gates and all that as well. And one time a woman said, are you here on your own in this police station? And I said, yeah, I am. She said, wow. But sometimes when I'm locking up, I can't believe it. I used to be a shoplifter. Now I'm locking up the police station. That's really weird, and, but they don't know. And the way I feel about it is that, yes, addiction is in every cell in my body, and I need treatment every day for the rest of my life. But that God gives me the opportunity to be the person that He meant for me to be, because I'm in recovery from this disease. So, I get given an amazing life. So I will keep coming. Thank you.